All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast, Lambert's Moneymaker. Today we have with us Mr. Luis Sanudo out of Houston, my
How
friend,
are
my
you?
partner. He is a master creative finance investor out of Houston, and today he's going to be sharing with us the ins and outs of Morby Method and how it is a game changer in anybody that's in real estate, specifically creative finance. Louiver, how the heck have you been, my man?
Awesome, brother. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. And yeah, I'm super excited to share with you kind of my experience and the goods and the bads of the pros and cons of investing and doing the Morphy methods. How can save your butt? I mean, your deals,
Yeah.
and how you can buy a ton of them. So yeah, been good. Houston, finally, we're getting some cold weather. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it's hot down there. I was down there about a month and it was even though it was like late September, early October, it was pretty brutal. But yeah, it's so nice down there. Houston, if y'all don't know, guys, Houston is flush with opportunity. I love the Houston area. I live in Vegas, and Vegas is, it's decent size in its own right, but compared to Houston, it's like a speck on the map. The opportunities in Houston are, yeah, they're very, very, very many different, totally different genres. If you from one corner to the other, that's what I love. I love so much about it is you got so many different styles of real estate investing down there. And Louis Eber, he's found a niche, and he was telling me about this about 3 months ago. What he's been doing with his properties, and it's genius. Like my mind was blown. Morby method is a method where, I'll let him get into the details of that, but pretty much you're coming into the deal with no money and you're walking away with a deal that is completely ready to go, rehab and cash flowing, which is the key for us in real estate investing. So, Louis, tell me a little bit about what it is you're doing down there in Houston, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of the Morby method.
Okay, brother. So what I'm doing as an I'm being full time investor for 2 years now. Mostly I'm a buy and hold investor, but I would say 60% cash, 40% creative deals, meaning like sub twos, Morphy methods, seller finance. Uh, I'm doing a lot of rehabs on the cash deals. On the other side, I'm buying creative deals to sell them on a wrap, create notes instead of buying properties, holding the properties. I'm holding the notes. Uh, on the back end, on the back end, I'm doing short-term rentals, Section A's, long-term rentals, house hacking, and lately co-living. Also, I have an RTC. Not have I have a partnership with an RTC company. Those are like foster kids that we have.
Okay. RTC is Foster. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, a little bit of, I would say, kind of everything. As a full-time investor, we need to. I don't let opportunities go. That's kind of the summary. I'm
That's
also an agent with EXP, and I'm building a team of agents, unicorn agents. For those who don't know what is a unicorn, is an agent who knows about investing and
Yeah.
creative finance.
Yeah, we need more of those. If you're an agent out there and you want to learn creative finance, hit us up so we can turn you into unicorn because you're going to make a lot more money.
Definitely, definitely. We are 8 right now in the team, and our goal is to
All
go.
unicorns?
Yes, our unicorns.
Nice. That's beautiful, man. That's so beautiful. So tell me a little bit about so Louis, he's been working in the Houston market, and I've visited quite a few of his properties, and he's taking these ratty dumps and turning them into just cash cows. And he's doing it ultimately, it's literally even making money on the purchase or at zero money out of his pocket. And that's what I want to focus on today. So let's just break down one deal that you've done. Doesn't have to be the best one, it doesn't have to be the worst one, but one deal and the numbers. And if you have something to share with us to kind of go over the numbers to easily visualize it, I would love that.
Yes. Do you want me to share kind of the Morby method, or like those type of creative bursts that I do,
Yeah,
adding footage?
let's share a Morby method.
Okay, awesome. So Morby methods, basically the original Morby method is like you negotiate with the seller. Usually is when a seller needs more money than we usually, as a creative investors or any investor, we're willing to give. That we usually pay between 5 and 10%, always looking to get into the deal with zero out of pocket. So that's the main goal, right?
Yeah.
And our maximum kind of rule of thumb guideline or rule is like being at least 10% down.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of sellers, and I know that everyone has met those that for so many reasons, or they need more money because they really need it, or because they have a loan, right, that is around 50-60% of the property equity, and they need to cash out those loans. Get those loans paid off, right? So Morby Method is like, instead of us giving them a cash offer, that how the cash offer, you have to give them, follow the 70% rule minus repairs, right?
Yeah.
And some of them, they don't want to go that route because they know kind of the value of their property. It's like meeting like 2 or 3 conditions. They know the value of the property. They know what they want. They're kind of distressed in a certain way, but they can wait a little bit, and they don't want to take our cash offer. They don't want to take the 70% minus repairs. So in that scenario, we ask them, hey, if you wait a little bit, because cash offers, you can close a cash deal between 10 days and, I don't know, a month, 10 and 21 days.
Yeah.
You ask them, I can bring you more money. I can give you more money as a down payment if you let me bring my bank. When I say bank, it's a 30-year mortgage. Could be Chase, could be Freedom Mortgage, any other bank. So out of the 100% of the equity, you bring a bank, right? You go to your bank and tell the banker, hey, I need to get a loan. Usually a DSCR loan, but if you have credit still, you can do it with a conventional non-QM. But most of us, the investors, we do DSCRs because we have a bunch of deals already in our credit. So DSCRs are the perfect scenario. Why? Because they're not attached to your credit. They're attached to the property ability to pay for itself, right? So you go to the bank and tell them, I want to buy this property, right? How much money will you give me? How much money will you finance? The bank, if it's a single family, the bank will finance 80% of the property value. Remember, we have the bank on the end side of the deal, and we have the seller that needs more than 10%. The bank can bring 80%, and the seller needs more than 10.
Right.
Depending on that seller situation, you can finance up to 80% of the seller's down payment.
Yeah. So what's the benefit to the investor in that scenario?
To the investor that get the deal with literally zero money out of pocket.
Right. Okay.
Because I bring the bank. The basic Morby Method is like you finance the down payment with the bank, and then you ask the seller that gives you back what you put in the deal, and then you seller finance that. Let's go with an example. The seller, let's make it simple, like 100K type of house, like a small house.
Yeah.
The seller needs, let's say, 60K.
Okay.
Right? Because it has a loan, because they have to pay medical bills, any other reason. But they're not willing to take your cash offer. It's like 70K minus repairs, around the 60K.
Right.
But you see the value of the holding that property because, I don't know, it's in a good area or a good Section 8, good Airbnb. So you go to your lender, you ask the lender, hey, can you finance this property for me? The lender will say, yes, I will give you 80K. Remember, 80%. But I need you to bring 20K, right? Mm-hmm. Plus closing costs. Let's say another 10K to make it easy.
Yeah.
So I'm putting 30K, lender is putting 80 for a total of 110. At the closing table in escrow, the lender, remember the seller, they needed 60K, right? Yes.
Yep.
60K. And you, of course, that's a previous, that's going to be on a contract that he will keep only 60K. Because the seller will see that you and your bank both put 100K. So the seller needs to give you back $40,000.
Right.
Remember, we put 30K at the closing table.
Yep.
Bank put 80K. Remember, 20 down payment, $10,000 closing costs, but the seller will give you back $40,000.
It all happens through title. It's not. They're not like physical.
That is correct. Yes.
It's not. We're not leaving it in their hands to give it back to us.
No wire. No self payments.
Like peace. Yeah. Okay. That's beautiful, man. See, not only are you getting the deal, but you are making money to buy this property.
Yes, and the most important part is that remember those 20K, because people can ask, hey, I don't have 30K to put down, and
Right.
we just took a property of 100K. You don't need to have the 20K. You just bring someone like my guy Aaron with Capital. It's like Gator Capital Partners. The name of the company.
Capital Partners. Yeah, we'll do the transaction. It's called transactional lending.
Yes. So
we bring in and then it flips right out and comes right back to us. Y'all pay a little fee, you get the deal. Beautiful.
Done. So by using a transactional lender like you guys, you can lend me the 30K. You can send that to a title company. Bank will bring the 80. We pay the seller the 60. Even in this scenario, we're cashing out 10K, right?
Yeah.
Because the seller will give me 40K back. I will give you your 30 plus your fee, and I will net, I don't know, $8,000.
Yeah.
Again, the original Morby method is that 40K difference, remember, with the seller, then you pay them that on a seller finance note.
Correct. Right. I understand that.
If you see here, you gave them 60, 40K seller finance, but also you pay closing costs. So you're kind of a little bit you're overpaying the property, but it will make sense if the property cash flows at the end of the day. Why? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, any investment, you have to run your numbers, returns on your investment, and guess what's our investment in those type of deals.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and that's a conversation I had with another gentleman the other day, because he wanted me to buy. We have this deal we're looking at in Florida. Really nice deal. Airbnb set up. It generates about $200,000 a year gross revenue, and he wanted me to do a Morby Method on it. I was like, well, let me look at it. I thought they owned it outright, but they don't. They have like a $1.1 million loan on it, so it kind of kills the deal. Because they want to come in, they want too much money up front, and it doesn't cover it, right? They want like 1.4, they want 280. There's no way I can get a loan to cover all that. And then even then, the cost of the loan per month would kill the deal. So even though that property makes a ton of money, with that high interest and that large of a loan, it kills all your cash flow.
Yeah, totally.
You have to be sharp on your numbers. It doesn't work on every deal. What do you think about this? I was talking about this. I think I was talking about this with you the other day, but straight seller finance style transaction, which there's a lot out there. A lot of times we put in offers, like you said, 5-10%, hoping for zero, right? With the lowest interest as possible. And then we have a lot of sellers and agents come back to us and said, oh, my seller wants 20%, 30%, 40%, whatever. They usually are never over 50%. But I was talking with an agent the other day, and I said, well, look, your seller wants 20%. How about if I gave them 50%? And she was like, her eyes got all big. I'm like, yeah, I'll give them 50% if they'll carry the rest of the 50% on my terms. And it'll be a set monthly payment, probably principal only. And she said, well, why principal only? I said, well, it needs, for me, I have a high interest loan that I'm coming in to give your seller a ton of money up front. And on the other end, I'm going to have a low interest loan with you. So my blended rate makes sense. If I can get my blended rate under 5, really under 4 would be great, but under 5 is good for me, then, it's a go. It's a go time. With that 50-50 ratio, it's very possible to get that blended rate down.
Bro, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, when I found that out like 2 weeks ago, my mind was blown, and I'm like, I'm over here looking for deals. Where's the deal at?
Bro.
Game changer.
And let me tell you why and how I'm using this Morby method in a little bit more advanced kind of, I would say, solution. Or I'm not paying the 20% back. Never. Why? Because again, if you're paying the 20% back, you're kind of overpaying the property. So again, you have to run the numbers because you're gonna have a loan of $80,000, right? Or 60 or whatever type of, or your 50%. You're gonna have that loan with the bank at 6% or 7% or 8%. So it's a high rate. So even if I get the deal for free, the deal needs to make sense on the back. You need to make at least, I don't know, $100 a month. Again, we invested zero, so we will make any cash flow infinite returns. But again, negative is not an option for us as investors.
Correct.
So I was doing, I think that I was doing even more method before I joined the Subto community. Why? Because I found out the solution. I found out that solution or that method by necessity. Why? Because I was flipping a property and I was at the edge of foreclosure. In a secondary market here in Houston, it was my first couple of flips. So total mess. From there I learned, now I know that everything I'm gonna do for the first time, I will partner with someone. That's a quick tip right there. Every time, bro, I do something new by myself, I fail. It's like God telling me, hey, stop doing that. But now I know. So at that time, I was literally like a month away from foreclosure, but I had enough equity. I had the deal because I had the deal at 70%. I owe like 160 and the ARV was 250. So my only solution, and no one wanted to buy it. So I see a lot of investors going through the same situation in this market, right? They have a ton of money invested, they have hard money lenders, but the deal is not moving, even if they lower the price, because the market is kind of slow. My solution was I call a partner, a friend, a W-2, super nice credit. Oh, and why not refinancing? Because at the time I was refinancing a ton of properties and my credit was not good. I couldn't get a good conventional. So the bank was killing me, giving me like 50% or 60%. Because if you have too many loans at the same time, you are kind of risky. So I called my friend and told him, hey, do you want a property for free? Come here. But
let me think about it.
Yeah. Buy this property from me. You would put 20%, of course. He had a 20%. You would put like, I think it's 60K or 20% of 260. And he paid like 15 closing costs. And the bank brought like $200,000. But I remember I owe to my hammer lender like 165. So at the closing table, 260, he got his 60K, he got his down payment. I paid off my hard money lender and I kept like $10,000. And now we own the property together. And we're selling it on a wrap. So I was option A, losing the property, losing everything on foreclosure. Option B, let's JV with someone who can save mine.
Perfect.
That's so perfect. After that, I've been finding investors in the same situation at the edge of losing the property. So I just go with them and tell them, bro, I cannot give you 70%. I mean, I want to give you 70%, but I know that you're an investor like myself. You want to need a little bit more money. So I will give you 80%, but let me bring my bank. And you will give me back my 20% and my closing cost. And 90% of the time, they say yes.
That's perfect.
I don't know if you have been in that situation. I have been through that situation.
I'm trying not to be in that situation, but
it happens. If you're and that's okay. And it can happen to experienced investors, experienced flippers. If you have enough deals in the market.
This is the reason why I befriend, have relationships with people like yourself, other people in the community, and the network of individuals that I've built in the real estate community, and that's one thing that reason I started this podcast is because I don't want to just focus on, how to make money, but also how to keep your money and how not to lose it. Like what not to do is really big, important. I say what not to do is more important than what to do sometimes. Because there's so much information out there as to what to do and how to do this and how to get this. But there's never, you very rarely see the negatives or the bad deals or the deals that lost money. They're not talking about those as much. They are a little bit, but not as much as you would think. So these are very important, conversations that need to be had, and videos that are putting out there for education on people that are getting into real estate. So yeah, I appreciate that.
True.
That's really good info. But do you have a deal that you want to break down some numbers?
Actually, yes. Yesterday I had a meeting with 5 gators that they lend money. Say again?
Gotta love them gators.
So for those who don't know what is a gator, is a kind of that's a kind of like pays Morby mentorship on how to lend on lenders, right? Private capital lenders.
Yeah, short term.
So yeah, short term. Some of them they are like more than 6 months. Some of them less than that. So what happened was they lend money in a second lien position, and they overpay. Basically, the hard money loan, first lien position, and their money. So the gap, people call it gap lending.
Mm-hmm.
On 5 properties, bro, they're like in the red. When I mean the red, more than 85% of ARV. More than 85. So yeah, I gave them solutions, like kind of doing the Morby methods. Why? Because they can refinance. They were not like me. They're not in the same situation as my other investors that I work with, or myself at that time. They can refinance, but by refinancing, that's another key point of the Morby method, right? Because you have a sales agreement between A seller and B buyer.
Right.
When you're refinancing, the appraiser will go and find out in the area the comps. The appraiser don't have a number in mind, right? Mm-hmm. They will just give you the number based on the comps in the area. But when you have a number, when you have a sales agreement, when you have a fixed number, the appraiser will go and try to match the number he has on the contract. That's kind of like a psychological thing, right? I don't know if you have seen it.
So if you have a sales contract with somebody that wants to purchase it?
Yes. Remember, Morby Method is like, it's like an internal sales agreement. Hey, Aaron, I'm belly up in this property. I need to get out of it. If I refinance it, I may get 250, but I know that the properties in the area are selling for 245. So the appraiser may give me 250. But if I tell you, hey, Aaron, let me sell this property to you. I will give you the 20% back, and let's put a contract for 255. So we increase, not too crazy, because the appraisers, they're professionals, right? They're not going to give you more than 20, 30K above comps. But they always try to match the number in. Yeah. And if you're doing, go ahead.
I said they'll work with you.
Yes. And if they're doing if deals like my fourplexes, they're like super low comps in the area, even in Houston, such a huge city, we don't have enough comps. So for them to have like a number in mind to go and match that, bro, is super important.
And that's another great thing that you're doing, is you're investing in the same neighborhood. So your new properties become the comps that of the property that you've done previously those become the comps of the new properties.
Yeah, I have now Delmar, the property that I'm like bought recently. I have like 5 appraisals, official appraisals, that I will ask the appraiser, hey, can I send you this? I know that I cannot tell you what to do, but I have these 5 appraisals on my properties that are refinanced or sold in the last 6 months. And they always say yes.
Yeah.
And they will look at those numbers.
It's beautiful.
It happened already with Walker, the one you went.
Yeah. That was a nice property. That was definitely a nice property. So, all right. Well, you want to
break down? Do you want me to share the?
Yeah, if you can.
And I'm going to give you the exit strategy.
Okay.
Okay, Morby methods.
Yeah, I'm a pencil and paper type of guy, so I love to. Let me put this thing, add to stage. Boom, here we go.
Awesome, I love it. Okay, so banks money. So remember, this is a deal that have the investor, they kind of trust the wholesaler. The wholesaler told them a number on the rehab, and it went like over budget, like for 20, 30K.
Yeah.
The seller added like a wholesaling fee on top of their first negotiation, and they ended up buying it, so they're belly up. And now the parties that are more concerned is the private money lenders, because they have their money invested there. So in one of the deals, I told my friend, the investor and the lenders, hey, I can buy this property. Let's put here, the ARB of the property is 235.
Okay.
ARB. And they are on 180. So I'm going to go to my bank. I'm going to ask the bank, hey, bank, can you give me 80%? So 235 multiplied by 80%. Can you give me 188? And I will bring, so let's say Luber's money, I will have to bring 20%, right? Multiply by 20%. I will have to bring $47,000 plus Luber has some closing costs. Let's say 4% of 188. I don't have that number like exactly, but it's usually 4%. 4%. $7,000. So Luber will bring all in around $54,000 and some change. Let me exact. 54,520. Luber's all in. Okay. So the bank will bring 188, right?
Yeah.
You follow me there? I will bring 47. I have to pay closing costs. And this is going to be, at the end of the day, bank's money is going to be also the debt, right? So that's for the exit strategy. It's super important to have it. And the guy, so investor's debt. I'm going to put 1 and 2 because it's first and second position. So Harmony lender and Gap lender. The investor's debt, I think, is 185. So as you can see here, the bank will give me 188, but I'm putting $7,000 on top of my 47, right? So when the investor at escrow, let's say escrow, investor will get 235. Let's go with formula, so we can change that later. Investor will get 235. Luber's down payment is going to be 47,000. He has to give me. When I say that investors need to give me my down payment back, is because I try to negotiate that, but it's not a must. I can invest money in these deals. Remember, even if I invest 10, 15, if the deal makes sense on the cash flow, it is a great deal still, right? So Luber's closing costs back. We have that. So escrow, closing costs back. And now we have investor's debt. No. Let's do the numbers here. So net. So the bank is giving 235 minus my money, or if I use guys like you, like
transactional lending. Yep. Double close, kind of.
Yes, double close transactionals. Let me go back. D3 minus 47 minus 7 minus 185 that the guys owe to first and second lien. So this means that I have to bring to the table $4,000.
Got it.
But remember, I told you about the beauty of doing sales contract internally, so you can increase a little bit the price.
Yep.
So we're gonna do a contract for 250. Is 15K higher number? I think the appraisal will go 250 or close to 250.
Right.
So if we do that, the numbers change a lot. So I will be netting
$7K.
7K. I can give back to the investor just to give me the deal literally for free, or I can keep that.
That's beautiful.
That's it. And now on the
And
now
just
we have
manipulating the the cost.
yes, that is correct. Playing with the bank's money, right? In a healthy way. If I go to 260, the bank will not, hey, the appraiser will not give me 260. And now on the back end, let's go back end. We have a loan for, let's take this number, right? 200K. My PITI is going to be, how much do you think in Texas now you have experience? Around $2,000?
For 200?
Yeah.
Yeah.
PITI at 7.5, kind of like DSCR loans on DSCR. So I will have around $2,000 and my monthly payments.
Mm-hmm.
So option one, long-term rentals.
Let's
The
see.
money is around 2,100.
What is your DSCR? 7.5?
Yes, give me that. Taxes on that kind of property is around 5K, and insurance is around 1,800.
Okay.
Option two, check this out. Option two, this is not a good area for Airbnb nor bad split because it's a small house, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
you're looking at 19, just at 2,000 in Texas for $2,000, 200,000.
19 something.
1968. That's with the 450 a month taxes and 120 insurance.
Perfect. 19. Yeah, super. It's kind of similar. 1968. Okay, so option two, wrap. Can you do the same number? Remember, I have a loan of 200K. Can you do the numbers based on? And I'm going to resell the property on a wrap for 250 again. I'm going to ask 30K down. So can you run the numbers on 220 at 10%?
Mm-hmm. 220.
How much is my PI? Or give me the PITI with the same taxes and insurance.
220 at 10%. So they're going to be at their monthly with PITI is going to be 2,500. So you're going to net a nice $500.
That's it. For me, I can keep it. Also, I have equity, 50K in equity because the property, let's say 35. Let's keep or 240. I will have from day one $40,000 in equity. I will have, even if I go long term, I will have infinite returns on the 2,100, or let's say break even, because you know that properties need to have some for maintenance. But if I go a wrap, that I like this deal to do it on a wrap because I will get extra. So summary, I can get $500 cash flow. Summary on a wrap.
Which a wrap, for all of you that don't know, is whenever he sells or we sell already a creative finance deal to someone else on seller finance. So we'll take a deal that might have a first and a second loan on it, or it might be just a sub two, and we'll wrap it together and put it and add a little bit for ourselves, sell it to somebody on seller finance. They come in with a down payment, we up the interest, and we make the portion. They're required to make all the any repairs, any of that. So we're not a landlord. So they're responsible for the property and to fix anything that's broken. So so that $500 is truly $500 because we're not taking property management fees, repairs, capital expenditures. Any of that is no longer our responsibility. It goes straight over to the new buyer.
Okay, so check the deal summary on a wrap. So basically, we're making $500 cash flow. Again, I love how the way you say it. We are not landlords anymore. We just note owners. We are lenders. It's $500 cash flow. We're gonna make cash $37,000, meaning that, remember, we got 7K here. Let's say we give it to the investor. So he's giving me a deal, right? Like zero out of money deal. I will give them that 7K back. So we're gonna get cash because we're asking that owner finance buyer, that wrap buyer, 30K down. Let's say that person comes with an agent. 6 out of 10 deals that I sell on owner finance, they come with agents. So 3% of 250 is around 7K, right?
Yep.
So 30K minus 7K is 23. Paying agents, and I'm gonna have 23K cash and back-end equity, meaning that, remember, I owe 200K to the bank here, but I sold it at 250. Back-end, I sold it at 250 with 30K down. Meaning that I have my note with the buyer is 220, my note with my lender, with my bank, is 200. So I have back-end equity. So whenever that person refinances or sell it in the future, I will have 20K.
Beautiful. Just like a never-ending bank account that grows.
And that's why I like, and all this came out of a bad deal. This was a bad deal. And this is a bad deal for that investor. And this amazing strategy saved the day.
So the first deal was kind of like this, except flip-flop. You were the guy that was in need.
Oh yeah. I was the,
and now you're the guy that's the solution.
Yeah, and the same numbers, literally the same numbers.
Wow.
I paid Harmon lender back, and now we own the property, and we are cash flowing. We have now more than, I will say, $80,000 in equity in that property, me and my partner.
Wow.
He was the one who saved me. But again, because I knew the solution, I knew the strategy. I came up with that. I realized I was Morby Method later on, but because I knew the strategy, I sold him the deal. So I stayed in the deal, not in this case. In this case, I'm coming in and buying out the investor. And he's happy. I understand. There are deals, as investors, we have sometimes deals that there's headaches, the black sheeps. We just want to get out of those deals.
Wow. That's why I love creative finance, man. Creative finance is just what it is, creative. And if the numbers work, the possibilities are endless.
Yep.
The ways in which you can come in and fix a deal, work a deal, as long as everybody's on board, it's really amazing. Definitely shout out to Pace Morby for making this all a reality for a lot of people, including myself. I'm imagining, putting these strategies out there that people just didn't. They might have been there, but they weren't really readily accessible as it pertains to the info. Like, I didn't know about these deals. I knew, and the crazy thing is, I knew about Morby Method. But the way that I knew about it was in a way that didn't make sense to me as it pertains to having to convince either an agent or a seller to go take a loan. So whenever I originally learned about Morby Method was go find to get the seller to agree to taking another loan out or a loan out against the property.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was watching, and I might have misunderstood the Zoom that I watched, but that's what I understood it as. I never did any more research on it, but pretty much the seller wanted 300,000. Pace was not going to give him 300,000. So Pace said, "Hey, how about you go get a loan for 350? You take 300, I'll take 50, and I'm responsible to pay the loan."
That ninja. Those are ninja techniques.
They still had to come to the table with the double close, right? They still did the full Morby Method strategy, but it was the seller that was initiating that loan. At least that's what my understanding was. And now I've learned these new strategies are just a little better way and more efficient way to do it, where the seller is really not a big part of it. you know, they obviously are agreeing to a creative finance transaction, but they're reaping more reward than anything.
And I say that that's kind of at the base Morby level strategy, because usually the sellers, and on only certain type of sellers, usually sellers are in distress. So this type of deals, the problem with distress is the seller is in distress, right?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of how I'm doing it, so people can ask, hey, I don't have credit, I don't even qualify for this year. That's fine. Just get the deal and find someone. Do you have friends with W-2 that they would love to get a property for free? Get partnered with that person. Don't give him 50%. Tell your partner, hey, I'm gonna give you a deal, zero out of pocket for free. I'm gonna manage, I'm gonna do everything, and you're gonna own 20% of it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
People will say no because they're scared of holding, but most of them they will say yes. So instead of putting the seller, you just bring in an extra partner.
Yeah.
And you share the profits, however, 20, 80, 50, 50, even 90, 10% for you. That's infinite returns.
Right.
Just by knowing the numbers, knowing the play, that's it.
That's beautiful. Well, Weaver, I want to thank you so much for being on today's episode and sharing your infinite knowledge of the Morby Method and just things that you're doing over there in Houston. I look forward to continuing our relationship and working with you, hopefully doing many more deals in the future.
But for sure.
Thank you, guys. If y'all want to look up Louiver, where can they find you?
So my socials, so Instagram is same at Louiver.Sanudo, so first name dot last name, and I believe it's YouTube. I want to share this YouTube, this video on my YouTube too, because it's kind of super cool how we kind of explain the Morby Method.
Yeah.
So YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah, we'll have all the links below, guys. We'll have links below for Louiver's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, and until next time.
Thank you so much, my baby. Take care.